Welcome to the next chapter where every home starts a new story. And this is Stacey Regula.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, Stacey. How are you?
I'm okay. Cold.
I know it's a miserable day out today on our recording day. Hopefully, it'll be nicer by the time we post this. So, our topic today is going to be moving to the country from the city. How do you like living in the country, Stacey?
Well, I much prefer it over the city. Um, it's kind of nice to have space, and I'm looking out my back window and I see a farmer's field, but we're also a little bit spoiled because we live on pavement. Uh,
Right.
but if you're really wanting to be in the middle of nowhere, there's definitely some stuff that we should talk about. So,
Right. I know. I have a hard time because I only lived country for about 5 years. But I've definitely helped a lot of people move country. And I'm rural town more. Like,
yeah, me too.
yeah, but you still have like the big driveway and a big enough lot, and you still have to cut wood, and like you still do a lot of the country stuff.
Yeah.
I'm in a development where my driveway is like the same size as most city driveways, and
Yeah,
there's
we still use harrows on our driveway, which is
yeah,
something that people should learn about. So,
right. There you go.
yeah.
So, yeah. What are some of the biggest motivators that you've seen from your clients about wanting to move to the country?
Well, I think it all started with like COVID, people wanting to get out of the city. And
Yeah.
then they started working from home more. So then they're with their spouses more and their kids and their dogs. So they were just wanting to have more space overall. Um, and well, it's cheaper out here. So
It can be definitely.
yeah.
um, I don't know. I think that there's definitely some things that are more expensive, but
Yeah.
but definitely a lot of things can be cheaper.
But like if your budget's 300,000, you have a better chance getting a house in like Beausejour, for example, versus Winnipeg
Oh yeah, for sure.
and like maybe not a bidding war. But I am showing one today in Beausejour that's 309 and it has an offer date. But that doesn't always work in the small towns. People don't
Right,
like pressure.
right, exactly. And I'm seeing even in the city, there's less bidding wars right now. So
Yeah.
fingers crossed for your buyers. Uh,
Yeah. We've lost a few times. So
yeah, awesome. Um, So yeah, that's kind of the whys people want to move to the country. It's usually more space, less neighbors, all that stuff. The family lifestyle. What surprised you most when you first started working in the rural markets?
the um, the amount of renovations people do without pulling permits.
Yeah, and
Probably that.
the MacGyvering.
Yeah, there's a lot of like
Yeah,
stuff that is not proper. And it's an awkward position because most of the time you just have to sell it as is because
yeah,
there's really no hope in fixing certain things.
yeah.
Yeah, and I've seen like septic systems way too close to houses that were just
Uh-huh.
thrown in. And yeah, I think there's a different mentality of like, I live in the middle of nowhere. I can do what I want.
What
But
I want. Yeah, I remember doing a CMA for a family who had hand dug their septic tank and used an old gas tank and did not take permits, and environmental knew nothing about it. And
yeah,
I'm like,
well,
okay.
yeah, and like a lot of people will get attracted to a large property with a mobile home on it, but they don't understand that the mobiles like they depreciate. So it's not like, in the city you do have a lot of mobile home parks where they're leasing the land and or their lot and paying a lot fee. But if you park a 1970s mobile home on 40 acres, they're going to have a really hard time getting financing. So
Yeah, no bank wants to touch that.
no, this has been something I've had to explain to people, and they're like very thankful because they had no idea. So
Yeah. I mean, land itself, the 40 acres itself, even with a house, would be hard to finance. So you
Yeah.
change it up to a mobile home, and now the bank's just like, no thanks.
Yeah, I just sold a 10-acre property. They actually get possession on Halloween, and it was 120,000, and the bank wanted 25% down. So,
Wow. Yeah.
and they had an appraisal done
Yeah.
on land and then also on their house. Right?
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like the rural living can be very romanticized. Everyone like
Yeah.
only thinks of all of the positives. And that's why I wanted to do this podcast so that we can also talk about the realities. Because while
Yeah.
it is super awesome to watch the sunset on your back acreage, and while you sit around the bonfire and all that great stuff, while you got chickens roaming around,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, chickens. Everybody wants their chickens, and they don't realize you can't have them in certain areas. So,
right. Yeah. Yeah. There's lots of things to actually know. And then there's like fewer conveniences, longer drives, and limited delivery options for those of us that are addicted to things like Amazon and ordering online. And there's almost no food delivery options. If you're ever looking to have food delivered, it can be very tough. But you have to be like more intentional about building new social connections when you move to a small town. They tend to be tight knit, so it can be like that's what you want to be part of, but it can be hard to break in, and and uh, and then it's missing like the quick city perks, short errands, and stuff like that. For the most part, I mean, depending on where you are, like you know, I'm again in a town, so we have a million things here. So if you're like close to Niverville or close to Selkirk or close to Steinbach or whatever, then it's a quick trip in. Lots of country is close to the city, but now you're talking big money.
yeah.
You're definitely
Yeah,
not.
certain RMs, like I grew up in the RM of Brokenhead and I live in the RM of Brokenhead, but like you go next door to the RM of Springfield and the prices are quite a bit higher, as you know, because you've sold a lot there too. So,
Depending on where in Springfield, yeah, it can
yeah.
be definitely. There's definitely sections that are still cheaper,
Horse
but they're
community
farther.
can be
Yeah.
expensive. So,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely the horse areas are more expensive.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then, but the absolute upside is being, close to nature and having space for kids, husbands to roam, and and pets, and just having that like mental reset, right?
Yeah.
Um, what's a realistic driving time where people still feel connected to the city or not so isolated?
I think there's two different answers to that.
Yeah.
There's what city people consider to be a realistic driving time when they move to the country, and then there's what people who live in the country consider a realistic driving time. So I'd say for me, 45 minutes to an hour is good,
Yeah.
but most people, and I'm sure you've had this, they want to live within 30 minutes of the city.
Yeah,
So,
I've even heard less, but
like, so
yeah,
does everybody else. So it's going to
which is
cost
why
you
places like Dougal and Oakbank are so expensive
St.
compared to
Andrews.
Anola or Tyndall, right? Like,
Mm,
yeah, yeah,
yeah, I think
definitely.
it's a bit of a struggle, especially if somebody's working, at HSC or something, right? So,
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah. And then, yeah, you have besides the commute time, there's a lot more cost there. Vehicle wear, winter driving, gravel road driving can be really hard on cars. Uh,
muddy driveways.
muddy, right? So yeah, depending when I have people that are moving from the city to the country, yeah, you get the ones that are just wanting they want the more space, but they don't want all those inconveniences, right? So, like I feel like Birds Hill area is really popular because there are so many, grid roads that are paved. And so, like, that area tends to be so much more money because those grid roads are paved. Whereas other areas where it's all like gravel, you tend to spend less money on a gravel road, right?
Yes.
And And then, yeah, we always have to check proximity to schools. And one thing about rural Manitoba is it doesn't always make sense. Just because that school's the closest doesn't mean it's where your kids are going to go. So you actually have to check with the school division and know the boundaries so that your kid is going to the school that you want them to go to. It just, sometimes I'm just baffled by where my clients' kids have to go to school when there's a school like 2 miles away.
Yeah.
and I mean, for the most part, they're going to be taking a bus anyway, but yeah, it just means a longer bus ride for your kids, right?
Yeah.
Um,
And another thing that I keeps coming to my mind that people forget about or aren't aware of is when you buy land, you might have to pay GST. So
right. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah. Yeah. That is a good one, right? Like if
on the land portion. And
you're
it's
portion, yeah.
really hard for me because it's hard to explain to people like how it's calculated, but you know,
Well, we were in that course last week with
yeah,
Chris Lang, and he
yeah,
had a hard time. And he's the lawyer that's supposed to
yeah.
be actually advising,
I'm
and
like,
he
oh, okay.
basically said, "Find out from an accountant." So,
Yeah,
yeah, and apparently, even then, the accountants don't always know. So it's not black and white. So we
no.
don't always know. That's why we advise plan for it.
But essentially, from what I've gathered, if the
Yeah.
land was used for income purposes or recently
Hmm.
subdivided by that owner,
That's
then the buyer has to pay GST, which is quite funny actually, because it's the seller made money off the property, now the buyer has to pay.
exactly. I know it is.
It makes sense
It's
to me,
odd.
but it's just one of those things that if like you're gonna have to accept it, and um, I find that a lot of like mortgage brokers and like credit unions especially like they'll factor that into the purchase price like with the offer to purchase, but sometimes the buyers still don't understand. So it's
Yeah.
just something I always, it's not that I'm second guessing the banks and the brokers, but just like I think it's good to hear everything twice. So
Exactly. Exactly. Um, Yeah, one thing I like to talk about when we're talking about moving rural is medical care. And I know emergency care can sound scary because you are far and you're waiting for an ambulance, but I find that medical, like regular medical care that you schedule and stuff, is way better. I lived in the city for over 20 years as an adult before I moved to Niverville, and I know I'm not rural, but I'm now in a rural health authority, and tests, when I need tests, they are so much faster getting scheduled than when I lived in the city and would have to wait 3 months for a letter to come to my door and then wait for the
yeah,
appointment to happen. And if it didn't work out, you had to reschedule and wait for another letter. Like
yeah,
that doesn't happen when you're in a rural health
yeah. Like
authority.
Selkirk,
Yeah.
a lot of testing get done there. And one
Yeah.
thing I've recently had family encounter, and it's quite nice. Is like the cancer care in Pinawa. So instead of
Oh yeah.
them having to drive to HSC, they go to Pinawa, which is nice. It's,
Yeah.
parking's free.
Parking is way easier.
Um,
I know when my husband had to go for a test last week, he's like, oh, my doctor said I could go to Concordia. And I'm like, yeah, but according to this list, you can also go to St. Pierre. And I'm like,
yeah,
St. Pierre, he was in and out in under 5 minutes. And that was like including parking his car and
yeah.
walking in and walking out.
I do go to the doctor in the city because where I live, there's a major turnover of doctors constantly, and so
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
just like so sick of changing
Always getting a new
doctors.
doctor.
So I went and followed one of them actually to the city, and yeah, it's just, but it's a 30-minute drive, which to me
Yes.
is
I
like
mean, you're going to have that pretty much
normal.
wherever you go. Yeah. Yeah. No, I hear you. I've been very lucky because my doctor has stayed consistent for a long time here in Niverville, but, and the medical care here is really great. But, you're in a different health authority than I am. You're in Interlake, which my mom is in, and I'm in Southern, but I feel like they're both very good at like, it's still Canada and it's still Manitoba and
It's just quicker.
but it is definitely faster than the city. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
like it is hard with walk-in stuff though. Like, I do have the schedule that uh, you can open up and it shows all the rural hospitals and if there's a doctor on call
Available.
or whatever. But I have sat for 10 hours plus in Selkirk if it's not, an emergency, but you can't get into walk-ins. So something to consider, but it's probably an issue both in and out of the city. It's just a little quicker out here for some stuff. Also,
I also think it also depends on what it's for. Like I've used QDocs a lot, but you can't use
yeah,
QDocs for everything. So
yeah. But also like the small town doctors' offices, like they tend to get you in quicker because it's like they everyone knows who you are, right? So
yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Once they like I've been going to the same chiropractor for my entire adult life and she gets in trouble from her receptionist because we talk too much. So like yeah, that is a nice thing about living in the country, but
Yeah.
I do drive 20 minutes to go to that chiropractor. So
Yeah. Right. Um, what are some of the things city folk need to know about the country that they don't always know to ask about?
property taxes. I do know like with our RM, you have to phone the RM and we actually have a direct like e-transfer every 2 weeks that we send money for our property taxes. But
Right? Because there's no
I
chip
would
program.
no, yeah, and so and then um like well water. A lot of the times, like I'll when we're writing an offer, I'll say like, hey, this well hasn't been tested, or we should request a well test, or your bank might want a well test, and then they're like, well, do I have to do that? And well, I do it. I know you do it. You're the one who showed me how to do it properly. Um, and then the other thing that I write on offers, and I've had a few agents laugh because they are like knew I was gonna put it on there is to empty the holding tank before possession.
Right.
A lot of people don't realize that how often that has to be emptied, or did your sellers empty it in the last 2 years? When it's supposed to be emptied. I think these are things that they just like don't even think about, right?
Right. Yeah.
And like yeah, like low pressure septic. Like I've had agents who don't even really know what that is, right?
Yeah.
I have low pressure septic, so that
Right.
means that my solids go into a holding tank, and my liquids go to the town.
Yeah.
Um,
And
and
how
then we
often
get
do you have to empty yours?
have to, I'd say every 2 years, but we do it every year. So,
Oh yeah.
and we do it in the fall, like September
You do it
or
in the
June.
fall. Oh yeah.
It depends. Depends if we forget or not, but it's either June. So,
Somewhere in there.
yeah, you just don't want to do it too close to winter because it can
Yeah, that's right.
so
Yeah.
yeah.
I know even when I'm writing that as a clause in offers for people that are taking possession late in the year, I'm like leery because I'm like, we don't want it emptied all the way in October. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. I've also had to write because some sellers like they'll get their tank emptied and then winter will come and they'll just like let all the snow fall on top of the lid, and I've had to write holdback clause because the inspector wasn't able to get into the septic,
Right.
the tank. So then we had to go back in the spring, and then there ended up being issues.
Oh
So
yeah.
yeah, a lot of people don't realize. Then I've been pointing this out is sometimes a septic tank will be too low into the ground, and then the water and dirt and everything's gets in there and like plugs up your tank. So you're
Yeah.
supposed to have it sticking out a bit, right? So they
Yeah.
had to build a box around it and like a proper lid, and then yeah. So
Awesome.
we ended up using the money from the holdback. So
Well, that's
and
good.
they were moving out from the city, and I sold their house uh, deep down Main Street. So it was like
Yeah.
it was a big change, right?
Yeah.
So
Big change. Yeah. Another one that we always need to talk about when we're talking to anyone moving to the country that hasn't lived in the country, especially, is ejector systems because they
oh, my
people have
favorite.
no idea what those are and all the implications that come with them. And so then I find like when I'm dealing with, I'll say the city realtors, even though I am a city realtor, and,
Yeah, but you're like you're I feel like you can wear both hats. Like,
Yeah, city realtors that don't do
there's a lot of
real
city
estate
realtors who won't
typically,
do real
and then
estate.
they come out to do a couple showings, and then they're like, oh, ejector systems, run, run, run. And I'm like, no, you don't have to run from them, you just have to know all the things about them, right? Like, you just have to know about them. You just have to know the right questions to ask, and make sure you have the right paperwork and whatnot. So yeah, it's just knowing. So when you are moving to the country, you do want to use the right realtor, because you want someone who is familiar with all the systems that
Yeah.
a country house will have. Some of those heating systems out there are insane. And I remember the first time I saw, like, it was a combo boiler.
Yeah.
and,
I sold one of those.
yeah, I sold lots of them since, but I remember the first time I'm like, oh my God, what is this?
Yeah.
And I had no idea that I would like need to have inspections for insurance.
Yeah.
So
And the
like,
sellers are like, what do you mean you don't know what this is? But like,
right.
not
There's been a
normal.
few times. I'm trying to remember. There was one. It was kind of like a geotherm system. It was like, I'm pretty sure it was all homemade, and it was
Oh,
like
yeah.
this wild house. That looked. It was like built around a tree. This house, like, it was a crazy house to begin with, and then he had this like crazy like geotherm boiler that was like wood fed.
Yeah. I've seen those.
And I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. I had a
Yeah.
mobile home that there was the home and then the garage. They were quite far apart. And then there was a boiler like way in the
Yeah.
backyard that they would put wood in, and it was
Yeah.
heating both the
I have lots of friends with those now.
and the garage. And then
Yeah.
they also put their own ejector system in. So like,
Oh,
you
they
know,
put their own ejector.
yeah, and it was very close to the house.
Oh
So
no.
like, you have to tell people, and you also don't want an agent who's gonna just take you walking right past that nice white tube.
Right. Yeah.
You're gonna get sprayed. So yeah,
Yeah. And if it says ejector, you want to be dealing with an agent that will know to ask where it is, so that you don't. Because yeah, I remember the first time I showed a property with an ejection system. I was a newbie rural agent at one point, right?
well, yeah, nobody teaches you these things. You just
Yeah,
figure it out.
and nobody tells you these things. And it was funny because the house that I first showed with an ejection system was only 2 doors down from where I lived as a teenager, and 2 doors down, like half a mile. And like, we almost walked into the ejector. We're like, oh my God. And then we turned around and got the heck
Yeah.
out of it.
Yeah, I've listed places with them in the middle of the field, so like
Yeah.
property. So
Right.
right where you're cutting the grass.
Right. Yeah. I know. I had one a couple of years ago. It was kind of in the middle, but they put a fence around it, and that area didn't get mowed. So like, at least you didn't like
Quite tall in there.
with that.
The grass must have been pretty tall in there.
It was very tall, and there was kind of like bushes. But yeah. It was, at least it was fenced off. So then you're not like accidentally sending someone in there. Some other things would be like garbage and recycling pickup, because some RMs offer and some RMs don't. And sometimes there's private services, or you're just taking it to the landfill yourself.
Yeah, and like a lot of times, I always write this in with the rural stuff, because if the agent doesn't, like the listing agent doesn't request it, and if I'm on the buying side, like there should either be garbage tags, or sometimes there's a sticker that you can take to the dump with you and show them. It's like your tag for the year, but then the sellers will keep the stickers and they'll
Yeah.
the tag because they weren't told to leave it.
Right.
Now the buyer has to like buy all new stuff for the rest of that year, right? So
yeah,
because we get garbage tags it's enough for 2 a week. So
yeah,
but like you can buy them.
Yeah, Niverville had that when we first moved here, but now we have the bins, and we don't fill a bin most weeks. But then on the week that we do some like big cleanup or whatever, now we have like too much garbage for our bin.
Yeah.
So I miss the tags, because it would like,
yeah,
you only use one most weeks, and then you could use 4.
Yeah.
Anyway, whatever. Internet and cell phone service. If you need to work from home, you need to check your internet while you're at the house, or like, anyone can get Starlink now, or what's the other one?
Yeah.
Valley Fiber is becoming very popular.
I have had a bit of an issue this past year where the only option was like for high speed internet was or is Starlink,
Yeah,
but my clients were not wanting to support Starlink.
I get it. I get that. But if you need to work from home, I'm like,
I
I think
know.
that,
I said,
that
well,
might
you
be the
have a
only
choice
option.
to make.
Yeah.
I'm sure that the phone in your hand has come from other places as well, so you might as well just
Right.
get the internet.
Yeah.
I like you can't have the best of both worlds always, right? So
Yeah.
I didn't. I they were looking at me for answers, and yeah, I didn't. There was no other options. So
Yeah. Unfortunately, that is often the answer.
if
Starlink.
it's in the middle of nowhere, like we're getting more and more options everywhere. Like
Yeah.
especially if there's like little communities. But if you're like, you know, way down gravel somewhere
On
or
40
along a
acres.
river.
Yeah, you're likely getting Starlink.
Yeah.
Or
Or
having
something
no
slow.
internet.
Yeah.
Or
Or
having
getting
really
something
crap.
really slow.
Yeah. Yeah. Because there are a lot of companies out there with towers and stuff, but yeah, they're typically not great.
Yeah. And a lot of people don't know about Wi-Fi calling. So I've definitely shown people how to do that. So
Oh yeah. That's awesome.
they're like, oh, my phone doesn't work when I'm at home. Like
Yeah.
after they take possession, you got to turn Wi-Fi calling on. So things you
Awesome.
learn.
The things you learn. Yeah, exactly. Um, I guess when I was talking about, I did mention that there's like probably insurance inspections required for some of the heating systems, but yeah, fireplace, fire, wood stoves, all those things, wood electric, they're all going to need some sort of inspection for insurance. And there's probably a lot of other things in the country that are going to require more insurance information, right?
Yeah. Well, and my inspector taught me um, that if just because it's wet certified from the previous owners, and
Yeah.
then you tell your insurance that, and then they're like, okay, and they insure it, they're actually charging you more because you didn't get it wet certified. So, but they don't tell you that. So
Right.
we ended up getting him to come do our wood stoves because, and like you have to decide if the glamour of a wood stove is worth the cost because we are 2 kilometers too far from the fire hall, and
Oh yeah.
we're paying like close to $3,000 a year for our house insurance.
Oh
So,
wow. Yeah.
just but we have two wood stoves, one in the house, one in the garage.
Yeah.
Once you're paying for one, it's worth it. Like if to have more than one, right? Like you don't pay more, but you know, sure it's great, but like you have to do all the wood and you have to now pay higher insurance and you got to bring the wood in through the house, through the window in the winter. So,
Right.
yeah. And then put wood in the fire at night.
And
Yeah.
that brings us to property maintenance, Stacey.
Yeah.
The property maintenance in the country can definitely be a lot more maintenance than a city house. Between like, I was saying earlier, you have a big driveway, even though you're only on 1 acre, but like snow clearing is definitely a huge one in the country.
Yeah. You often need like
Actual equipment.
or like a old truck that you can put a blade on the front or a
Right.
quad blade on the front, which
Right. Yeah.
because it's sometimes just like a push behind snowblower, you'll be out there for 3 hours. So
Right. Yeah. I know. I have one of my clients, she's a single lady, and she had bought acreage that's fairly open. She does have some trees, like she does have a bush line, but the wind out where she is, she's out in Dufresne, and the wind, and I just know like there are some winters she's literally blowing snow every day, whether it snows or not, just because of the wind blowing it into her driveway. And for years she just with the push mower, and I just and now she's my age. So yeah, I'd love to see her get into something with less maintenance because she spends her entire winter blowing snow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you need a lot more equipment, ride-on mowers, snow blowers, chainsaws, wood splitters. So this
Yeah.
is where it can be more expensive.
Yeah. But like,
Yeah,
yeah, you might have paid less for the house, but
yeah,
it all depends how much manual labor you want to do, right? So,
right.
and then that you need a place to put all this stuff. So,
And you need a big shop to put all this stuff in.
yeah, or a shed, a
Yeah,
really
or
big
yeah, right, a big shed. Yeah, exactly.
giant
Some
one.
sort of
Yeah,
outbuilding. But
my
yeah,
husband.
like I mean, it is more work, but it's like it's not like for the most part, it's like puttering work, right?
Yeah,
Like
I'll keep it. Like it's yeah. You know, I can open my window and not hear things. So,
sirens.
yeah. One thing that actually did pop to my mind, and I know we're jumping back or
Yeah.
whatever, that I've encountered a lot lately, is banks are now making people sign saying they won't do certain things on the property or they will not get financing. So I was selling, as a listing agent, a hobby farm essentially, and the buyer's agent informed me that his clients had to sign a form saying they wouldn't have animals, and they were literally buying a house, the barn. Um,
It's
so
because they're getting residential financing, not farm
yeah,
financing, right? So
yeah,
I
that's
feel
what.
like if you want to do the things like farming wise, you need to actually talk to the bank about farming financing,
Yeah,
right? So that you are able
but
to
then they
do
have to
what
put
you
more
want.
money down. So it's
Then
like,
you typically have to put more money down. Exactly.
yeah,
Uh, yeah. I had a similar situation a couple of years ago where I was selling essentially a hobby farm. It was not operational at the time because it was an estate sale, but it had all the buildings. It had 51 acres, right? Like someone's buying it because they want to do something,
yeah. Somebody
not
wants to
just
put a
live in
horse.
the house and use the barn for what, like parking cars. Uh, and, uh, and I mean, someone might, but likelihood someone's going to do something farming wise with this property. So yeah, they did have to put 20% down. Um, in order to move ahead. But I mean, those are also properties that aren't generally your first time home buyers moving into them, right? So typically, if they're selling a house, they've already got equity to put towards it. So you're more likely to be able to do that 20% down. And, but yeah, I am finding that it is happening more and more.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I have a listing that's been a huge challenge to sell because nobody can get financing. So,
right.
um, but it's very unique. So it's not like that's going to be for everybody. Pretty much everyone that wanted to buy it was only putting 5% down. So,
Oh, wow.
um, I think that it just needs the right buyer. Um,
Right.
but it's
It's
very
not for
challenging.
everybody, but for the right people, it's pure
But
magic.
everyone wants it because
Yeah, but everyone wants it. Yeah, that's the other thing. Yeah, exactly. Um, Another thing to talk about is zoning, land use, and residential versus agriculture. I had another one that was zoned agriculture and had all the buildings that like tons of nice outbuildings. And my clients were like, my sellers were like, I think this would be great for someone who wants to start a business. Like one of their buildings was a really nice shop that would be great for mechanics. One of the other buildings would have been great for like running doggy daycare, and we had buyers that wanted to do doggy daycare. And but yeah, when we talked to the municipality, they're like, "No, we won't support that. It's zoned agriculture, so you can't do either of those things." And so yeah, like knowing what you want to use it for and how it's zoned is really important. Other things to know about are like shared driveways or any other access rights. We had I had one where my clients bought a piece of land. That's okay. And we love our dogs. I'm just waiting for Mabel and Penny to start now. But anyway, so my clients bought a piece of land and it had an access for the farmer to access the land behind. And which was fine. We agreed to that. But what happened before my clients went to clear because it was almost all bush, except for this little piece at the back where the farmer could go across to get to his field. Anyway, so and then while they waited for their possession to happen, the farmer went and cleared a whole 100 feet of bush off their property so that they could access the back, and that was not part of the agreement. No.
So my dog is going nuts because he sees my husband outside. So, yeah.
It's all good. It's all good. We love dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, just some other things too that you have to think about when you are buying land, especially or buying any country property with a specific purpose. Basically, you need to know all the ins and outs of that. And then we kind of covered this already, Stacey. Our next question is, what should buyers talk to their lender about before they start looking?
Yeah, I think we got most of it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. So yeah.
Yeah, I just think that knowing all the costs, and then, even maybe if you don't have all the machinery or stuff that you need, then maybe look at getting a loan or using some sort of line of credit to get that stuff if you, because otherwise you'll be like me and pushing 1 acre for a couple of years. Because buying a riding lawnmower was just always on the bottom of the list. I couldn't imagine pushing my yard. Now, I don't know how I did it, but it took me like 4 or 5 hours. So, yes. So something to make sure you just have enough money for everything. Yeah.
Awesome. And so some of your equity when you're selling your house might go towards those things, which is why you might only have 5 or 10% to go down instead of the 20%. But also some people will try to get the seller to leave the tractor or whatever, but that can also have an issue with your financing, because now the bank doesn't want to mortgage a tractor, so then they're going to take that off, and now you're going to have to put more down on the property because they're going to make you pay that value, right? So yeah, there can be issues with that. So asking for the tractor isn't always the best thing. I always tell people to do the deal on the tractor outside of the house, so that it's not part of the financing. What's one of your favorite parts about country living?
The quiet.
Yeah.
It's nice to have the space for my dog as well, I just asked my husband to take outside with him so he'd stop barking, but he decided he didn't want to go.
He's like, no, I want to stay in here and bark at Daddy from the window.
And be really noisy for you. It's nice to have, we fenced our yards, so it's but there's you can go down a gravel road and take your dog for a walk. It's quiet, but you have to take bear spray with you.
Yeah, right.
And don't go after dark because the coyotes are really bad right now. So
yeah,
been a lot of city people.
That's why I feel like some people who have moved to the country with this romanticized version of whatever it was going to be end up not liking it and moving back, because a big one for a lot of the clients that I've had sell are that they can't just go for an evening walk. Unless they're building their own trails on their property. I mean, some of the grid roads are 90, right? I mean, a lot of those gravel roads, people are driving 90 unless you're buying at a dead end or something, right?
Yeah.
And so yeah, I do find that's tends to be my clients that call me wanting to sell, to move back to the city or into a rural town. It's usually things like that, or the isolation, or too much work. Too much work is a common one. Yeah. And it is really hard. I know there's tons of people that live in the country on acreage and they have kids in hockey, and I don't know how they do it. Like, how do you have time for all the stuff that you have to do? Like one of the families I can think of right now, they have the wood boiler system. So they're feeding wood into their boiler every day and taking kids to hockey and doing their driveway on a regular basis and whatever, right? Like, and I'm just like, how do they even have a moment?
Yeah, they're definitely clearing snow in the dark. It's just
Right?
part of it.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, how do you not clear snow in the dark? I mean, my parents would work from, I was a teenager when I lived in the country. They would leave home in the morning at 6:30 and not get home till like 6:37. Like, it's dark.
Yeah.
Like, right? Like, it's always dark, right? Like, you're not ever going to be home during the daytime in the winter. But I feel like that's the same in the city. You're leaving in the dark and you're coming home in the dark.
Yeah,
In the
that's true.
city. But
True.
yeah. Yeah, so I guess when you're making the transition, one of the things I like to chat about before you, move to the country is like a lot of those things. And, should you sell the city house first or buy first? I think that when you're looking in the country, it just makes sense to buy first. Your house in the city is, depending on the area, most areas are selling fast. So it's, usually easy to, sell your house after you've bought something in the country.
The only time that's like, I just went through that with some clients, and like every property they were looking at was the same property everybody else was looking at. So, because they were in desirable areas. So we kept losing because we had a condition of sale, even though we were putting the most money down and paying the most. But, they couldn't sell their house first, right? Because it takes a long time to find the right place in the country. Yeah. So they actually are getting possession this morning. So,
good.
After 2 years. So, but
and they didn't want to take the chance of not having the condition.
No. Yeah. And then it was too stressful for them. But well, you helped me sell their house. We sold it fast. So
yeah, it sold really fast. Yeah, exactly.
So it was an easy condition, and like the people who wrote on it didn't have any conditions. So it was nice.
Yeah. So sometimes, like in those cases, I will suggest to people to sell and move into a temporary housing just so that you can, like
if they're willing,
if they're willing to do that, because like it is like if you are looking in really popular areas and all the houses that you like are all going into multiple offers, then it's hard to make your offer competitive with a condition to sell your house. No one's going to take that offer. They're only going to take that offer if there's no other offers on the table. Or that's
well, sometimes they take it if you have a very compelling love letter, but it's rare. Most people want their money, right?
Most people want the money. I had people who got, they already had an offer on their house, so it just had to be finalized, the sale of their house. So it was only a week that we were asking for, but my clients upped their offer a lot. So they knew that they overpaid, but they overpaid to not have to move twice. And that was their words, right? We're going to overpay now so we don't have to move twice. And so that was their decision. They knew going in and that was what was happening. And the sellers, it was compelling enough that they were like, we'll wait the week to make sure that your house is sold. Yeah. Anyway, make sure that you're test driving, country living, do a couple weekend rentals, or even do a weeknight rental and go to work from the country. Working with realtors who understand both markets is really important because you're going to be selling and buying, right? Yeah. So you want people that understand both markets. So that's where we come in. And I think that
go check out the areas. Like I've had people ask me to show them houses in areas they've never even like driven through. Right. And then we get out there and they're like, I hate it. And
check them out.
So go for a drive and kind of narrow down your area. I think one thing that happens with people moving out of the city is they have too big of an area of where they're willing to go, and it can get overwhelming for them. I think you kind of have to narrow it down a bit. So we can help with that, but you got to take some drives.
And like maybe go to some of the restaurants, sit in the restaurants and like try to talk to the people. And like see how cliquey it is, and right, like I know I've said that once before, but some communities are like arms wide open. Niverville is very arms wide open because almost everyone nowadays is an implant, right? Like there's not a lot left of the old town
Yeah.
people, right? So
Yeah.
I feel like everyone's from somewhere else in my development and in the other development, and it's only old Niverville that is the old people, right? So I feel like depending on where you are will depend on how cliquish it is or whatnot. And if you're looking for that community living, then that is important because you want to be able to break in and make friends because that's
Yeah.
what it's all about, you know? Yeah. So there is a lot of planning involved in buying and selling when you're moving to the country. So it's great to start planning early. I've had clients contact me years before they actually were ready, and sometimes it takes a while to like find the right place. So
Yeah.
I had clients who recently moved. I'm pretty sure we talked for about it for 2 years before they attempted and then it took us 2 years to get them there, but we got them there and they're thrilled and super excited. So yeah, it's good to start asking questions early, having meetings, whether we
Buyers meetings.
yeah, exactly, getting the planning early. And if you're there's usually things to do to the house too, so it's great to chat early so that the prep can take time instead of all crammed into one weekend. Yeah, lean on us professionals who know the drill. And yeah, that's pretty much everything.
I think so. Well, speaking of rural showings, I have to go do one. So
Yes, that's right. Awesome. Thanks so much, Stacey. I really appreciate your expertise.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Have a great time at your showings.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching, everyone, and listening. And please like and subscribe. And we'll see you next time. Bye.